Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor. Huge shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this pickup for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. This Raptor is finished off in shadow black. MSRP is just shy of $58,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter twin-turbo V6. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic, and it pumps out 405 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 5,400-pound pickup from 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. It has a top speed of 107 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 20.3 gallons. You'll expect to see 16 miles per gallon in the city and 18 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 128.7 inches. Its overall length is 210.9. It has a width of 79.8, a height of 75.9, and its ground clearance measures in at 10.7 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, you will notice the biggest difference compared to a non-Raptor is the Ford logo within the grille to mimic its bigger brother, the F150 Raptor. So very large for this grille. There's also a forward-facing camera and even cutouts located within the grille. You'll notice the O and the D are also hollow, just to provide additional cooling. Now there's also LEDs for all of the lighting that nicely wrap around that trim accent for the grille. There's fog lights in the steel bumper, along with additional cutouts and active grille shutters there. There's tow hooks up front, parking sensors as well, skid plates up underneath, and then some really nice trim accents and bulges that come down both sides of the hood, just to give it more of that aggressive off-roading design and a beefy look for this mid-size truck. Now, as we work our way to the side, the only option for this truck are the 17-inch beadlock ready wheels. This also has 33-inch tires and then the 2.5-inch Fox suspension, which does provide it with a small lift. You'll notice too, the fender arches nicely match the front bumper. There's also steel side steps as well, making it easier to enter and exit, and you can get some additional protection if you are taking this off the pavement. Now there's also a trim accent just behind that fender. There's a camera and a turn signal with the body colored mirror cap. There is no sunroof for this model. And then really nice lines running down the side. You'll notice the Raptor badge too on the side of the bed, where this does have a short box, of course. Just makes it more proportional and gives you a better departure angle as well. Now in back, you'll notice the Raptor logo along with Ranger stamped in the lower section. There's a backup camera, all the parking sensors, the steel bumper. This can even tow right around 5,500 pounds, which is reduced to from a standard Ranger. However, with that suspension, that is the towing that you do get. You have massive tow hooks on both sides and even the dual exhaust, which is an active system. Now you can remote start this, so just lock it, double tap this, we can bring it to life. And there are a few different modes, so we will go over those once we hop into the truck. And then you can use this release up underneath where there's the soft opening tailgate. Now with the Raptor, you do get the spray and bed liner, which is very helpful. There's also an auxiliary, plenty of tie downs too, and then the Ford logo up front. You also have some indentations in the back. You could use this as a workbench if you needed to. There's also a ruler and areas where you can place clamps, so that way you can attach any items that you are cutting, and again, use that as a nice workbench. Now, as we work our way to the interior, the door panel has a really nice design to it. There's all of the stitching, the black leather there, some storage in the lower section. And with this mid-size truck, you even get storage underneath the seat. So if you have some smaller items, you can easily place them under there and hide them out of the way. For the rest of the seats, you'll notice the black and orange accents along with some Alcantara. And then hopping in, you do get a grab handle on the headliner there. And at 5'10", for a smaller truck, it's really not all that bad. You have some storage pockets, a little bit of space, along with some auxiliaries down below. And at 5'10", I have an inch and a half or so of headroom. So while it's a small truck, what you would expect for a midsize, I could easily ride around the town and be comfortable. Maybe go on a short road trip if needed. Now right in the middle, you do have an armrest with cup holders, and there's also the electronic sliding rear window there. And then when you pull on the tab next to the headrest, you can fold this seat down where you really don't have any storage. So it's mainly underneath that seat. Now working your way up front, this comes with memory seating adjustments. You have the window controls, which are power folding, window controls, storage underneath, and then the release handles on the inside of the grab handle, which is a nice integration. And then you have power operating front seats with the Raptor badge, really nice bolster support, and then all of those materials there. And then as we hop in now, we can start this up and take a listen to that active exhaust. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, you'll notice on the upper screen, all that information is going to be fixed. So you can easily see that, along with info on the left side and the right side. Now you do have some info right in the middle where you can use a control on the right side of the steering wheel to go through all of this information. So you can pull all of this up as needed, just depending on what you would like to go through. Now also over on the right side, you have a steering adjustment. So you can go through 3 different settings for the feedback you would like. You also have a suspension setting. So again, you can go through 3 different settings there depending on how you would like your ride. And then last up, you also have the exhaust note. So as you heard already, you can go through these depending on the loudness that you would like. Now you also have an R button. So this will go through your My modes basically and set up the vehicle to your liking. So you can quickly push on this and have all of those ready to go and customized. Now you also have Bluetooth controls. There's a back button as well. Massive paddle shifters on both sides. And then on the left side, you have your cruise control settings, distance pacing, your volume, and Bluetooth controls. Now on the left side, there's all of your headlights, fog light adjustments, and dimmer switches, even a cargo light in the back. There's one air vent. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, you have a vent on both sides, and then you have quite a lot to go through with this vertical design. So if we start in the upper left, you can pull down some shortcuts here. So you can get into your navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you have zone lighting, you can configure those as you would like to. You can also push on the vehicle there and go through a lot more information. So these are all of the settings within the vehicle that you can go into and customize depending on what works for you. Now right in the middle, you will notice currently there's audio, but you also have shortcuts right in the middle of the screen that you can push on and they will pull up in that upper screen. So you can quickly go through all of this information and have it displayed very nicely on the top. And then the lower section is going to be fixed. So you can easily get into your temperature adjustments, pull those up where you'd like the air to go. You have your heated steering wheel as well that you can get into. And then in the lower section, you can quickly get into your fan speed. You have temperature adjustments here, and then you can easily get into the heated seats and the heated steering wheel in the lower section as well. Now below that, there are some physical buttons. So you have your temperatures on both sides, fan speed in the middle. There's also volume and some defrosters there. Now you also get wireless charging with a little bit of space and an auxiliary. There's 2 cup holders, and then with the shifter, you just push the release up front. We can put it into reverse, where you do have the backup camera and a top-down view. Now you can also go through a few other angles here, depending on what you need to see, and you have a trailering angle too. So that way you can see clearly where the trailer is going and you can add a trailer and customize that. Now you also have drive and the ability to put it into the manual settings, so that way you can use those paddle shifters. There's the e-brake behind that, and then you have a shortcut to your parking sensors, traction control, engine start stop, and then if you push on this icon here, you can actually pull up some off-roading information for your front locker, your rear locker. There's an off-road trail control or your cruise control system that you can get into, and you can monitor the PSI for all of your tires. You'll notice too on this left side, there's also the trailer braking system, so you can use that as needed. Now to the right of that, you have your driving modes along with your 4-wheel drive, and you can look at your trailer backup assistance. Now as we twist on this dial, you can go through these modes here. So you have normal, sport, tow and haul. There's also a slippery setting, and then you can also get into some off-road settings, your Baja, and rock crawl. So just depending on the terrain that you are in. So very easy to use all of these. And then behind that, you have a lot of storage with an auxiliary, plenty of storage for your passenger here, and you also have 2 glove boxes. So you have one up top with a really nice trim accent, and then the locking one down below. And then up top, there's the rear view. You have dome lights, the controls for that rear glass, and then you have a sunglass holder and factory auxiliary switches. So you can hook up anything that you may have, and you already have a spot to power them on and off. And then here's a look at visibility, where it's very easy to see over both shoulders. So you have a lot of glass for the smaller truck. As we set up behind the wheel now, behind the Ranger Raptor, it's been a while since I've been able to drive this model, and I think it's a really cool mid-size truck. It's basically the F150 Raptor in a smaller form with this mid-size, and you get a lot of nice performance with this truck. Now, as I'm adjusting the seat here, we do have a height adjustable seat, and at 5'10", I have like 4.5 inches of headroom. So this is designed well for taller people. If you are looking for a smaller truck, you can still fit pretty comfortably in this vehicle. Now, what's nice about this too is that we have a lot of performance driving for it. Basically, this is going to be a daily driver. You can use the bed for whatever cargo items you have, maybe tow with this model. The one downside with this suspension is that it does have a lower towing rating than a non-Raptor. However, you have a lot more settings with the suspension to make it more comfortable for on-road driving, but that's also going to be very beneficial when you are hitting the trails. So that way you can set it up the way that you would like. Now, the Ranger that we did have, or the Raptor that we had, we actually took off-road. So if you'd like to see how this performs off-road, take a look at that separate video. It handles pretty well for this truck and how it's set up. But what's really neat with this is the performance that you can have on road. So most of the time this is going to be seeing pavement, and with it in sport mode and the paddle shifters, it's a quick truck for a very minor acceleration there. I did have the exhaust in sport mode, and of course you can make it quieter from there if needed. So it is nice to drive this on a daily basis. You have that extra little bit of performance for a pickup truck. To have paddle shifters is pretty neat. Now, as far as how this drives, it's very comfortable. Seats are super comfortable with these bolstering supports, and it's a pretty quiet truck in general. Even with trucks passing, it's basically what you would expect. So it would make for a very comfortable daily driver. And again, with the suspension settings, you can dial it in that much more for on-road. For its smaller size too, I mean, when you compare it to the F150 Raptor, obviously it's going to be much smaller, but for how compact it is, I think it does offer a great size. And from second gear again, we'll give it a minor acceleration so we can get back up to speed here. Not all that loud, a little bit less than the F150. You can definitely hear the grunt to that truck, but I think it sounds pretty good. Overall, really nice design. You have a really nice armrest here basically for the door sill there, so you can get pretty comfortable in this driver's seat. And for a smaller size truck, you really don't need much more if you're not looking for a bigger vehicle. And I'm still in sport mode, second gear. Here we go. Paddles are also very responsive too, which is great to see in a pickup truck. This isn't performance oriented like a sports car necessarily, but it pretty much has a good bit of power and performance for this type of vehicle. So it's really neat to see the performance that you can have for on-road, but as well as being able to take this off the pavement. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the Ranger Raptor. You have a really good outlook too. You can easily see over the trim accents on both sides. So visibility is very nice. This also has the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which I forgot to mention earlier. Very nice interior and materials for the pricing. So just shy of 60 grand. A performance truck like this, at least in today's market too. I remember when the Ford F150 Raptor came out, that was just shy of 60 grand. So crazy times to see that now this is roughly the same price, but those trucks are even more expensive too. So if you're not looking for that big of a truck or looking to spend that kind of money, you can basically get it in the mini version here. And it's also going to be a little bit more maneuverable because it is a smaller truck. So we can easily make this turn here, which is nice. And it would make for a great daily driver. Oh, definitely a cool truck to be able to check out. If you want to see this off the pavement, take a look at that separate video. We had one for a week a few years ago, roughly when this came out. So you can take a look at how our adventure was with it off the pavement to see what it is like. But I hope you all enjoyed today's review with the Ranger Raptor. Once again, a huge shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.